Resolution 12-2011, whereas the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Millington adopted the City of Millington personnel policies and procedures by Resolution 32-1990, and whereas the Board of Mayor and Aldermen have amended said policies from time to time and desires to amend the policies further to change the pay policies for overtime for sworn police officers. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Millington that general pay policies and guidelines, Section 3, compensation, philosophy, and policies for implementation, item B-.2.F, for the policies as amended as follows. Section 3, item B.2.F is amended by deleting said section in its entirety and replacing it with the following new item. Sworn personnel in the police department are compensated for hours worked in excess of 86 actual hours in a 14-day work cycle, either by being paid for those hours at 1 1/2 times their straight time rate, or by being granted compensatory time in lieu of monetary payment at the rate of 1 1/2 hours for each overtime hour worked, except as expressly modified by this resolution. Section 3, compensation, philosophy, and policies for implementation shall remain in full force and effect as written. This resolution will be effective on the 9th day of April 2011 to coincide with the beginning of the city's payroll cycle and completion of the last overtime cycle for the police department. Yes, ma'am.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I wanted to bring this up to the board because currently the police department is on a 28-day overtime reporting cycle. And during that 28 days, the actual hours have to be 165 hours of actual hours worked before overtime can be compensated. If I were a police officer and chose to and was asked to work overtime the first 2 weeks of the cycle, I might have actually earned 30 hours of overtime at time and a half pay. However, I'm not paid that until the end of the 28-day cycle. So towards the end of the cycle, I might be going on a vacation with my family for 2 days or even 3 days. And that offsets my overtime that I've worked hard for the city and earned. By putting them on a 2-week cycle, it puts them more in line with the rest of our city employees, other than the fire department, so that I am paid my 2 weeks regular pay and any overtime that I would have earned in that 2-week cycle. The Fair Labor Standard Act offers a schedule to allow this to happen. We're currently on the 28-day cycle, but the Fair Labor Standard Act brings it down as low as a 1-day cycle, if you wanted to, or a 7-day cycle. So my request to you is to put it on a 14-day cycle to correspond with our payroll cycles and with the rest of the city. I think it could also offer a morale boost so that as a police officer, when I'm asked to work overtime in that first 2 weeks of the month, that I know that that's my overtime to bank.
You mean right now that they work overtime the first 2 weeks of the month, they don't get paid for it if they take off the last couple of days?
Correct, because you have to actually work those hours. So, Mr. Crows, if someone had worked 180 hours, I first have to look at any other hours that were taken off from sick time, vacation, jury duty, any comp days, and deplete that 180 hours by, let's just say, 40 hours. And so that the individual would have not had any overtime paid.
You understand?
How often is this occurring?
Every pay period. I mean, it happens more than 50% of the time.
So then in essence, we're going to be paying more in overtime. Because, I mean, what you're saying is that...
You would think so, but I have to shed another little light on the situation. It has been the practice that I've discovered in January that this city was paying the hours recorded as 180 hours and everything above 165 at time and a half. In January, I corrected that. I made them look at their timesheets carefully so that any hours that were not actually worked could not be computed at time and a half. So the practice for the city has been in the past, and I can't tell you how many years in the past, Mr. Barger, to pay anything in excess of 165 as time and a half. I want to be the value added and put you back on track with FSLA and the way federal laws are written.
Well, I'll move to pass the resolution.
Yeah, it needs to be cleared up.
I think it does too.
Got a motion? Need a second.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Roll calls. Clerk?
Mr. Berger.